One lap, one bump, 26 cars destroyed. That is not an exaggeration. That is exactly what happened at Talladega Superspeedway on Sunday, April 26th, during the Jack Links 500. And right at the center of all of it, Bubba Wallace. In the span of a single afternoon, Wallace went from race leader to crash victim to the man taking full responsibility in front of cameras. This one hits different. Let's break it down. Here is the scene. Talladega Superspeedway. 2.66 miles of pure high-speed chaos waiting to happen. Wallace was behind the wheel of the number 23 Toyota for 23-11 Racing, the team co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. Early in Stage 2, Wallace was not just surviving, he was leading. He had put himself out front on 3 separate occasions on that track. The car felt competitive, the strategy was working, and for a moment, it genuinely looked like this could be Wallace's day. Then came lap 115. Wallace was running out front with a 3-wide pack of cars thundering behind him at full superspeedway speed. Ross Chastain, driving the number 1 Chevy for Trackhouse Racing, came up behind Wallace at the end of the back straightaway and made contact with the rear of Wallace's Toyota. On camera, the bump did not look violent, but the result was catastrophic. Wallace's car got loose instantly, swung sideways, and slid hard into the outside safer barrier. Cole Custer was right there, nowhere to go. What followed was pure destruction. Cars went low, cars went high, and most of them had 0 escape routes. The Fox Sports broadcast team described it as a smoke screen of carnage through Turn 3 and posted on social media. The very big one. Talladega is currently a parking lot. NASCAR threw the red flag. When the smoke finally cleared, 26 cars were confirmed involved, making it one of the biggest pileups in NASCAR history. Only 4 cars escaped completely unscathed: Ryan Preece, Chris Buescher, and, in one of the great ironies of the day, Ross Chastain himself. The list of drivers caught up in the wreck reads like a NASCAR all-star roster. Connor Zilisch, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, William Byron, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Kyle Larson were all collected. Previous Talladega winners Blaney and Logano could not resume the race. The red flag stoppage lasted 10 minutes as crews worked to clear the wreckage off the track. The one piece of good news: every single driver was checked and released from the infield care center with no reported injuries. While all of this unfolded, Carson Hocevar somehow navigated through the carnage, beat Chris Buescher to the finish line, and claimed his first ever NASCAR Cup Series win. An extraordinary way to earn it. Back in Wallace's car, the team radio told the real story. According to journalist Matt Weaver, Wallace's very first words after the impact were, "He wrecked me." Clear, direct, and emotionally charged. Then his spotter, Freddie Kraft, came on the radio. As reported by Richard Allen of Motorsports Report, Kraft said, "I can't see the car." How is it? He literally could not see Wallace through the wall of smoke covering the track. Wallace's reply was short and loaded with meaning. "I'll see you in Texas." In NASCAR, that translates to one thing: my race is over. Even in the middle of a disaster, Wallace kept his composure with a line that carried more weight than it let on. But something shifted when Wallace watched the replay. After being cleared at the infield care center and returning to speak with reporters, his tone had completely changed. Watching the footage back, Wallace recognized something critical. Chastain did not intentionally slam into him. Chastain himself was being pushed by the cars stacked up behind him. It was a chain reaction, not a calculated move. Speaking on the Fox broadcast, Wallace said, "Damn right. Nothing to show for it in the first stage. Obviously, just trying to figure out the strategy stuff. But man, just hate it. Hate it for Xfinity. Hate it for our team." Then came a line that got everyone talking. "We've got to figure out how to be pushed better. I take responsibility on that." He added, "We'll have a good debrief and figure out what we can do to make our Toyotas a little bit better being pushed." The shift from "he wrecked me" on the radio to "I take responsibility" in front of cameras was significant, and fans across the internet noticed it immediately. The debate that followed split NASCAR fans right down the middle. On one side, the argument goes that a simple bump at superspeedway speed should not spin out the race leader. Was Wallace's car set up too loose? Should a front-running car be that unstable when pushed? 2311 Racing faced real scrutiny over the car's setup in the hours that followed. On the other side, the counterargument is just as valid. Chastain was being pushed too. 3 wide at Talladega at full speed is always a situation waiting to explode. Wallace took the high road publicly. And the reason may be simpler than people think, because this problem is bigger than one bump and bigger than one driver. Multiple drivers after the race pointed directly at the NextGen car as the root cause of what happened. Ryan Blaney put it plainly, "We all just got pinballing off each other." He said nobody was to blame. One guy eventually gets turned with the car being as unstable as it is. Blaney also made clear he does not expect NASCAR to address the issue until off-season testing in January. Joey Logano, who was running just 2 cars behind Wallace when everything erupted, went further. He told reporters, "They just started wrecking above me. I was getting as low as I can to try to avoid it." On the car itself, Logano said, "You've got round bumpers on these things. The cars are unstable, and once everyone starts pushing and racing aggressive, it's going to happen." He compared the bumpers to 2 basketballs hitting each other, completely unpredictable in direction. His conclusion was blunt. Until we fix that stuff, we're going to continue seeing it. This was not a one-driver mistake. Multiple competitors identified it as a systemic problem with the NextGen car at superspeedways. And adding to the day's controversy, NASCAR admitted an officiating error, giving Zane Smith a wave around during the race, but refusing the same to Denny Hamlin in a similar situation. Hamlin was furious, and rightfully so. The Talladega disaster, however, is not happening in isolation for Wallace. It is part of a larger and more difficult story defining his 2025 season. Wallace currently sits 12th in the Cup Series standings with 2 DNFs already on the books. He has 5 top 10 finishes, but only 1 top 5 to show for it. Something is clearly missing, and the contrast within his own team makes it sharper. Teammate Tyler Reddick is having one of the strongest seasons of his career, already collecting 5 first-place finishes in 2025. 2311 Racing as an organization is performing at a high level, just not on Wallace's side of the garage. Wallace himself addressed it with complete honesty. "I thought once we got past the bubble of 8th or 9th that we would really turn it up." Then he described the moment Reddick passed him during a race. "We got to 3rd, and Tyler Reddick passed me like I was on jack stands, and I'm like, never mind." He followed it with, "We are still missing something," and then dropped perhaps the most revealing line of a season. "I wanted more. I'm pissed that he won. I'm getting tired of it." That is a driver who is hungry, frustrated, and fully aware of the gap that needs to be closed. In the middle of all this, Kyle Busch offered some perspective on the NASCAR world in an interview with Sean Haggerty. Asked about driver friendships in the sport, Busch said, "We're a traveling circus or a traveling trailer park, whichever you want to call it." His point was straightforward. Drivers are close because they grew up racing together, not simply because they share the same paddock every weekend. It is a reminder of the complex social dynamics Wallace continues to navigate inside a sport where relationships, politics, and competition are constantly overlapping. Wallace's next stop is Texas Motor Speedway, the very place he referenced on the team radio when his Talladega race ended. Now that line becomes reality. He is heading there carrying 2 DNFs, a struggling car, and the weight of watching his teammate dominate. After Texas comes Watkins Glen International, a road course that Wallace admitted gives him pause. "Usually I try to not think about road courses. Watkins Glen is a tough one. It's fast, obviously, with the repave." But he also acknowledged a key fact from his own history. "I forgot we finished 8th there last year." So that's a nice reminder. Wallace is still searching for his first win of the 2025 season and his first ever win at the Glen. With 2 DNFs, a dominant teammate in Reddick, and the NextGen car's superspeedway instability still unresolved, every green flag from here carries more pressure than the last. The question now is whether Bubba Wallace can find what is missing before this season slips further out of reach.